Welcome back everybody. Today we are talking about 3,500 years old lady Ganyu. Well, we have only DPS builds for her and we have two different DPS builds. So we are going to start with the melt one, and the second one is going to be the pure cryo build. So let's get started. So the weapons. When it comes to weapons, the Amos bow is challenged by many of the new crit rate and crit damage weapons. So we will need to check them out and test every single of those weapons. The only thing is that Amos bow is in the standard banner, so you have an option to get it, let's say for free, because you get more standard banner wishes than you get for the normal banners. So yeah, the Amos bow is going to be, I guess, a lot easier to acquire than the other weapons. But hey, if you have some of these weapons, that is going to be, you know, the extra one that you don't need to use. And if it does perform better than the Amos bow, well, of course that you are going to change that, right? So yeah, we will need to test these out, but apparently Amos bow should still be the best one out of all of them. And I don't even have all the crit rate and crit damage bow weapons when it comes to the 5 stars. And when it comes to the 4 stars, you have few of the attack weapons, let's say this one, but it is increasing elemental mastery, which is not, I mean, it's helping for the melt build, but it's not helping that much, honestly. So Hamayumi is going to be the best one from the 4-star options. Of course you have battle pass weapons, so you can go even with the battle pass ones, but if you're lucky enough to get the Amos bow from the standard banner, well, you will go with the Amos bow. And if you have some of these extras, well, we will just check out if they are good enough. Next we have artifacts. So we are talking about the melt build first, and the Wanderer set is going to be the best option in that one. You will go with the attack, cryo and crit, of course. Now when it comes to talents, normal attack is going to be maxed out. When it comes to skill and burst, I mean, you can max out those two as well because they are dealing a lot of damage. But mainly, you know, the normal attack is going to provide you with the most of it. So yeah, normal attack definitely at the maximum, and I do suggest going with the maximum on both skill and burst. So you have just to decide for yourself. And now with the passive talents, the first one is going to allow you to get even more damage from the blooms. The bloom is when your arrow hits the enemy, and the second part is when it separates into the 6 arrows and then hits again. So the bloom effect is going to be increased by 20%. So that's going to be for the second charge attack, not from the first one. The first one is going to activate it, and the second one is going to get the crit rate boost. Now, the second passive talent is going to allow you to get 20% of crit damage if you are in the area of the burst. That's going to be a definitely nice boost as well. And now let's talk about the second build. So when it comes to weapon, everything is going to be the same. When it comes to artifacts, the only difference is going to be that you will use Blizzard set. You will not use this one. You will use Blizzard Strayer. And it's going to be the same, you know, attack and cryo and crit, of course. When it comes to talents, well, now just because you will dealing only cryo damage, and all of these are just cryo, and everything is going to be boosted even more, well, I guess that this time you should definitely go and max all of those 3 out. Although I did suggest even for the last build that you upgrade everything. just because of that much damage that she is dealing with, even skill and even the burst. So yeah, just upgrade everything to the maximum. The only difference is the artifact set and everything else is absolutely the same. And now we have only the constellations to talk about. So the first constellation is going to decrease the cryo resistance on your enemies by 15% after you hit them with the charged shot, and the charged one with the 2 seconds, you know, the Frost Lake one. Also, you will regenerate 2 energy for Ganyu after that one. So that's going to be a great for the first constellation. I mean, definitely boosting your Ganyu much more. And when it comes to second constellation, you will get the second flower, or you can drop your skill 2 times, which is probably going to be helpful, I don't know. I mean, one is already doing his thing, but as I said, the flower and the burst, they both have, let's say, okay damage, so a little bit extra damage doesn't hurt anyways. And C4. C4 is a little bit interesting. So while your opponents are in the burst, they will be taking increased damage over time, which means that if you let them be there for 15 seconds, you will get 25% of damage increased against them when you hit them next time. And yeah, it's lasting for 3 seconds if they leave the area, and I think that the burst is 15 seconds, so you will have only those 3 seconds to hit them with the maximum boost. But hey, it's boosting every 3 seconds for 5% every those 3 seconds, and the maximum is 25 after 15 seconds. So yeah, definitely interesting one, and it is a nice boost from the C4, definitely, although you need to pay attention for the burst and getting your enemies inside of the burst. But don't forget, the Ganyu is bow character, and it's not going to help her that much, you know. It's going to be a problem a little bit, because if you don't have shield, she doesn't have enough HP. If you're fighting some big enemy, this is going to be, I don't know, either you go for 20% of crit damage bonus, or you go for few percentages that are rising and rising over time while your enemy is inside of your burst. You will have to decide for yourself. And now C6. C6 is definitely interesting. I mean, everyone are saying, oh, it's great, you know, you use your skill and then you don't need to charge your attack. And why would that be so great if you can use it only once every 30 seconds? I mean, I do get the option that you hit 2 times with so much power, because you can deal 1 million damage in those 2 shots. But honestly, is it that good? Alright, so we have only teams left, and now let's talk about the Wanderer set. Firstly, the melt build. Well, the best option definitely is going to be adding Bennett, and after that you have Kazuha. Now, the best booster currently at the game is Shilonen.
Right, after you.
And I guess if you can get your somehow your opponent to have some kind of burning, or to hit the opponent before Kazuha hits it with the cryo and does the melt, then this is going to be the best team. But it's going to be really hard to manage all of that, so there's few other options. Either you lose your Bennett for Zhanling, because Zhanling is acquiring much more pyro, or you leave your Bennett in the team and go with the pyro infusion from the Kazuha and Bennett, and then you will melt definitely, but you will not have the cryo boost from Kazuha. You see where I'm going? It's a little bit tricky to get with only one pyro to get the boost for cryo when it comes to Kazuha. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit tricky, and of course if you activate everything on Ganyu, including skill and burst, it's going to be even harder to melt. So melt Ganyu is going to be a little bit harder to play, just because you need to make the timing every single time perfect. It must be perfect. I know that there are many other characters that are going to boost, you know, EM or just shield or purely just cryo, even more EM or just boosting absolutely everything. Yeah, we have so many other boosters, and I know that it is possible, many things are possible, but this should be, if you can make it work, this should be the best team that you can get on your Ganyu. So now that we talked about the melt build, we are moving on to the cryo build. And now for the pure cryo, well, the best cryo booster of all, which is going to stay, I guess, is going to be Shenhe. And including that, we will add Kazuha and Shilonen. And this is definitely going to be the best team for Cryo Ganyu, because hey, the best cryo booster, the best elemental booster, and the best when it comes to reducing the opponent resistances. Well, this is definitely going to be the best team out there, no question asked. It doesn't have any competition, I'm sure of it. If someone thinks that some other team is better, well, let me know in the comments. But I'm not going to change my mind. I'm going to play with this team every single time, just because I do believe that it is that good. So that's going to be everything on Ganyu's guide today. Thank you for joining. If you have something to add, let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. And of course, don't forget to check out the damage that I was trying out with Ganyu at the end of this video.
For Rex Lapis!
Fallen leaves, adorn my...
Manifest! Unleash! Cryo incarnate! Must press on.
Bring it! Teamwork is strict! Fallen leaves, adorn my night!
Next on the agenda. Next on the agenda.